Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the channel. This Saturday is UFC Fight Night Nashville. Cory Sandhagen versus Rob Font, and this is going to be my full card predictions. Starting off with the first fight of the night, Osbourne versus Assu Almabayev. Almabayev making his UFC debut. He's 17-2, but hasn't fought the best competition. The best fighter that he's faced is 2 fights ago against Zach Makovsky, a former UFC fighter who's 21-10. This was a competitive fight. He won via split decision. But this was a fight where you look at Zach Makovsky, that's the best level of competition that he's faced, and he's having a tough time. He was able to get him down, but Makovsky was able to scramble out of some positions and get back to his feet. Other than that, I mean, the last guy he fought was 3-1. That's the level of competition that Almabayev has faced. He's 29 years old. He's 5'5". We don't have a reach for him listed on Tapology. Osbourne has been around for a while. He's 12-5. He's been in the UFC for a bit, just been trading wins and losses. His last fight was against Charles Johnson. Got a split decision win. Looked good early, but then got kicked in the nuts and just wasn't the same and started to gas out in the 3rd round. Inevitably wins the fight via split decision. I thought he should have got the decision, but it ended up being closer than it probably should have been. The fight before that, he got brutally KO'd by Tyson Nam. Threw a flying knee without setting it up. Tyson Nam lands a nasty right hand and brutally KOs him. This is a striker versus grappler matchup. Osbourne wants to keep the fight standing. He has good power in his hands. He has good leg kicks. He has 9 of 12 wins via finish, but he has a questionable gas tank. And Almabayev is just going to keep pushing the pace, looking for takedowns, looking to clinch up. He hasn't fought the best competition, but he does have decent grappling. Once he gets you down, he has a decent top game. He will make some mistakes and end up letting his opponents up. But Osbourne, I don't trust his gas tank. I think he could KO Almabayev, but Almabayev has okay striking. He showed some dynamic striking. He throws a lot of spinning back kicks to the body. For my prediction, I'm going Assu Almabayev via 29-28 decision. I think Osbourne will start to wear down from defending the takedowns. Probably win the first round with his striking, circling around the cage, leg kicks, throwing combinations, but Almabayev will keep looking for takedowns, being relentless, and Osbourne will start to fade, lose the 2nd and 3rd round, being out-grappled. I'm going Almabayev via 29-28 decision. Moving up on the card, a fight that was just announced literally like 20 minutes ago, Sean Woodson versus Mairon Santos, or Mairon Santos, I think is how you pronounce it. This is Sean Woodson's 3rd opponent on this card. I don't even remember who his original opponent was supposed to be, but his last opponent was Jesse Butler. So this is a very short notice fight for Mairon Santos. And Sean Woodson's coming off a draw, and it was a split decision draw where he almost got finished twice. And Luis Saldana has no fight IQ at all. He literally hurt him badly, walked away from him. Then he hurt him badly and threw an illegal knee, brutally KOing Sean Woodson, but they let the fight continue. He ends up fading. Luis Saldana ends up fading, and it ends up being a draw, even though Saldana probably should have won this fight 1st round KO. Woodson's been around for a bit. He's a long, lanky guy. He's 31 years old, 6'2", with a 79-inch reach. Mairon Santos, 13-1. But hasn't fought the best competition at all. I mean, the last guy he fought was 14-4. Okay, fair enough. The last guy before that was 6-0, who he lost to, Daniel Argueta, who's in the UFC. The guy before that, 7-16. He's 23 years old, 5'9", with a 72-inch reach. So talk about a disadvantage here. I mean, a 5-inch height disadvantage and a 7-inch reach disadvantage for Mairon Santos. And honestly, I just think it's just not enough time for Santos to be able to come in and get this done. He has excellent leg kicks. He has good power in his hands, but he's inexperienced and he doesn't have good grappling. And I think Sean Woodson, he's been training to fight on this date. Santos is getting the call on 4 days' notice. I'm going Sean Woodson 2nd round TKO. I just think Woodson will be able to use that 7-inch reach advantage. He'll be able to outstrike him. He'll be able to avoid the big shots. And I think Woodson, even though he's not the best grappler, he's been improving. And I think he can mix in the grappling as well and take Santos down. Santos is too young, too inexperienced, and too one-dimensional. I'm going Sean Woodson to catch him in the 2nd round and finish him via ground and pound. I could see Santos start to chop that leg and maybe start to get out ahead because Woodson is very heavy on that lead leg and his legs are so skinny. I could see Santos doing some damage with that. But I think Woodson, he's been training for this date. I think Woodson gets it done 2nd round TKO. Moving up on the card, another interesting flyweight fight. The first fight on the card was a flyweight matchup. We have Jake Hadley versus Cody Durden. This is kind of a striker versus grappler matchup, the striker being Jake Hadley, the grappler being Cody Durden. But Jake Hadley's a good grappler as well. He came off of Dana White's Contender Series, missed weight, won, and still got a contract. Lost to Alan Nascimento, got out-grappled in that fight. Just got held down a little bit too much. Since then, has reeled off 2 wins via finish. His last fight, he brutally finished Malcolm Gordon via TKO with some body shots. He's 27 years old, 5'7" with a 70-inch reach. So he has a 3-inch reach advantage on Cody Durden. Cody Durden's 32 years old. Been around for a bit in the UFC, lost to Muhammad Makayev, got hurt badly early with a flying knee and then got submitted. But since then, on a 3-fight winning streak, but not against the best level of competition. I mean, Charles Johnson, okay, that's a decent win. Carlos Mota, not really. And then a win over JP Buys, that's basically meaningless. I think Cody Durden's going to come out and look to grapple heavily in this fight, look to clinch up, look to take him down. But I think Hadley has decent enough submission ability and scrambling abilities where he can neutralize if Cody Durden does get him on the ground and potentially get back to his feet. I don't think Durden is going to be able to just grind on him the entire fight. And I think Hadley not only has the submission abilities to submit Durden, I think Hadley is much superior on the feet. And I think Hadley is going to be lighting him up on the feet, ripping to the body. Hadley has very good cardio as well. He's fought hard 3-round fights, has looked decent. And I really do think this fight ends in a finish no matter who wins. Hadley, 8 out of 10 by finish. Durden, 11 out of 15 by finish, but I don't believe he's gotten a finish in the UFC. So, you know, the level of competition steps up. He's not able to get the finishes. I think if Durden wins this fight, he probably wins via decision, maybe out-grappling him. But I think Jake Hadley's a far superior striker and a good enough grappler to deal with Cody Durden. I'm going Jake Hadley 2nd round submission. I think he's going to be lighting Durden up on the feet in the 1st round. Maybe Durden gets a takedown. Hadley gets back up. It's a kind of a competitive round, but Hadley wins based on damage. 2nd round, I think Hadley really starts to work the body of Cody Durden. Durden is going to shoot in on a takedown just repeatedly and just desperation shots. And I think Jake Hadley is going to lock up a guillotine and get a 2nd round sub over Cody Durden. Moving up on the card, we have Billy Quarantillo versus Damon Jackson. This should be a fun fight. This is a very good fight. I'm looking forward to this matchup. Billy Q coming off that brutal KO, that flying knee KO. It wasn't even really a flying knee. It was just a step-in knee from Edson Barboza, like a fadeaway knee, where he got absolutely slept. Looked decent in that fight up until that point. Before that, got a win over Alexander Hernandez, was getting out-grappled in that fight. Damaged badly in the 1st round, but Hernandez just faded to the pressure and pace of Billy Q. Billy Q's 34 years old. That actually shocked me. I didn't realize he was that old. 5'10" with a 70-inch reach. Damon Jackson, 34 years old, 5'11" with a 71-inch reach. So a inch height and reach advantage for Damon Jackson. Honestly, when I initially looked at this fight, I favored Billy Quarantillo. But I think Damon Jackson has good enough cardio to deal with the pressure of Billy Q. And I think Damon Jackson has better grappling than Billy Q. So I think Damon Jackson can hang on the feet. Billy Q throws really sloppy, eats a lot of shots. He just tries to use his pressure and pace and just tries to throw a lot of combinations and just wear you down. And he's not particularly great anywhere. Where Damon Jackson has very good grappling. You know, it's not the best by any means. And he's coming off a brutal KO loss to Dan Ige, but that was 6 months ago. So he's taken time off. Before that, a win over Pat Sabatini. Hurt him early. Finished him via ground and pound. That's a decent win. Before that, he was on a long winning streak. And I think, you know, Billy Q, everyone likes him because he's exciting. I think he's a little bit overrated. I think Damon Jackson gets this done. I do worry about his gas tank. He could fade and lose. But I think Damon Jackson has good enough striking to land on Billy Q. I worry about him dealing with the pressure of Billy Q, but I think Damon Jackson will shoot in on takedowns. He'll be able to get Billy Q down. It'll be a very competitive fight. I'm going Damon Jackson 29-28 decision. Moving up on the card, Jeremiah Wells versus Carlston Harris, an interesting welterweight matchup. Both guys 36 years old. Jeremiah Wells is 5'9" with a 74-inch reach. Harris is 6 foot with a 76-inch reach, so a 3-inch height advantage, 2-inch reach advantage for Carlston Harris. Carlston Harris coming off a win over Jarrett Gordon where he out-grappled him. Fight before that got finished badly by Shavkat Rakhmonov, but no shame in that. You look at Jeremiah Wells, he's on a long winning streak. His last fight, he beat Matthew Semmelsberg, got hurt badly in this fight, but used his grappling, was able to do damage with his ground and pound, and won the fight via split decision. And honestly, I scored it for Jeremiah Wells. Fight before that, KO'd Court McGee, but Court McGee's a dead body. It doesn't really mean a whole lot. This is a fight that's very interesting because Jeremiah Wells doesn't have the best striking, has very good grappling. Carlston Harris doesn't have the best striking, but has decent grappling. And honestly, Carlston Harris is going to want to come out and grapple. He's going to want to come out and clinch and take you down and grind you out. That's how he fights every single fight. Where Jeremiah Wells is more well-rounded, in my opinion. Also has a decent chin. He can take massive power shots from Matthew Semelsberger and survive. Wells has finished 9 of 12 wins by finish. And he's just more well-rounded, in my opinion. I'm going Jeremiah Wells via first-round KO because I think Wells will be able to stuff the takedowns. I think he'll be confident with the grappling. And I think Carlston Harris's hands are terrible. And they have not improved over the course of his UFC career. And I think Wells will defend a couple takedowns. He'll get confident with that. And I just think Jeremiah Wells has more power in his hands. Harris has okay kicks, but his striking with his hands is just terrible. So I think Jeremiah Wells clips him early, maybe midway through the first round. And I think Jeremiah Wells puts him to sleep, finishes off Carlston Harris in the first round. Moving up on the card, Raoni Barcelos versus Kyler Phillips. Interesting bantamweight matchup. Massive youth advantage for Kyler Phillips. I mean, he's 8 years younger than Raoni Barcelos, and Barcelos is coming off that KO against Umar Nurmagomedov. This is a good matchup to test Kyler Phillips. Kyler Phillips has been out a while. He hasn't fought in a little over a year. His last fight was against Marcelo Rojo. He won that fight via triangle mixed with an armbar. The fight before that, he lost to Raulian Paiva. Got exhausted, 10-8ing Raulian Paiva. I believe it was in the first round. And then ended up losing the second and third round because he was gassed out. I wonder after the layoff and the fact that he was caught with some type of banned substance in his system. But he's just so much younger. He's so much younger. He has a 5-inch reach advantage, a 72-inch reach to 67, a 1-inch height advantage, so that really doesn't matter. And I just think Raoni Barcelos is getting older. He's lost 3 out of his last 4. I'm going Kyler Phillips via decision. I could see him getting it done, maybe hurting him and then submitting him. But Kyler Phillips is just faster, more athletic. I think he has better strikings. Raoni Barcelos is good, but just not great anywhere. And he's 36 years old. And Kyler Phillips can do it all. He can strike and he can mix in the takedowns. And I think ultimately Kyler Phillips wins this fight 30-27 decision. I think Raoni Barcelos is just getting too old. Moving up on the card, the first fight on the main card, Ignacio Bahamondes versus Ludovit Klein. I'm looking forward to this matchup as well. Bahamondes on a 3-fight winning streak. Against Trey Ogden, I thought, he could have done more in that fight looking for a finish. Before that, defeats Zhu Rong. I can't remember how to pronounce his name. Submits him. Before that, that crazy wheel kick KO at the last second against Roosevelt Roberts. Ignacio Bahamondes is only 25 years old. 25 years old. Ludovit Klein, 28 years old, so not particularly old. His last fight was a majority decision draw because Jai Herbert, I think, grabbed the fence, so there was a point deduction, and then Jai Herbert lost the last round, so then it ended up being a draw. But Ludovit Klein should have lost that fight. Got outstruck in that fight against Jai Herbert. Fight before that beat Mason Jones. Doesn't really mean much. I have to go Ignacio Bahamondes in this fight. I think he's a far superior striker. 9 out of his 14 wins are via KO, TKO. He has great leg kicks, a good jab. And I just think Bahamondes, Klein's going to be looking for takedowns over and over and over again. And I think Bahamondes has good enough grappling. Ludovit Klein wasn't really able to hold Jai Herbert down for any meaningful period of time. So I don't think he's going to be able to hold Bahamondes down. And I think Bahamondes is just too fast on the feet. Has a very good diversity of attacks. And I see Bahamondes finishing this fight. I think Ludovit Klein might get a takedown early a little bit. But I think Bahamondes will be able to work back to his feet. And I think Bahamondes in the second round, I think Bahamondes is going to win the first round, outstrike him, land better shots. Ludovit Klein might get him down, hold him down for 20 seconds, but I think Bahamondes will work back up. And I think in the second round, Bahamondes starts to get a little bit looser, and Ludovit Klein's going to walk into something. I'm going second round head kick KO for Ignacio Bahamondes. Moving up on the card, Tanner Boser versus Aleksa Camur. Tanner Boser on a 2-fight losing streak. Lost 4 out of his last 5. His last fight, he got finished by Ion Cutelaba. Didn't look terrible in the fight. I believe that was his light heavyweight debut. The fight before that, got out-grappled by Rodrigo Nascimento in the heavyweight division. So I do think Tanner Boser can find a second hope, kind of, in the light heavyweight division. And Camur is coming in on a 2-fight losing streak. Been inactive. Hasn't fought in over 2 years. Lost his last fight, split decision. Lost the fight before that to William Knight. Got out-grappled by William Knight. and really doesn't have any good wins. I mean, his last win was 3.5 years ago. He's 27 years old, 6'1", with a 74-inch reach. So, he doesn't even have a reach or height advantage. Tanner Boser has a 1-inch height advantage and a 1.5-inch reach advantage. Boser's only 32. I'm going Tanner Boser. I think Tanner Boser gets this fight done. I don't trust him to get it done because Camur just does have okay footwork and okay power and okay striking. I say that loosely. But I think Tanner Boser is just a little bit more athletic, a little bit more powerful. And I think Tanner Boser could take down Camur and hold him down. He doesn't have very good grappling. And Camur doesn't have good cardio either. And Boser's biggest problem was getting out-grappled by guys at heavyweight. And Camur is not going to be able to do that. He's going to look to strike. I'm going Tanner Boser decision. I don't think Tanner Boser has good enough power, has one-punch KO power to get it done. So I'm going Tanner Boser decision. Maybe it's a 29-28. Maybe it's a 30-27. I think Tanner Boser gets this done. Moving up on the card, Gavin Tucker versus Diego Lopes. I'm looking forward to this matchup. Diego Lopes made his UFC debut on short notice against Movsar Evloev. And man, was he landing big shots on the feet. And he almost found submissions multiple times against Movsar, looking for leg locks and knee bars and arm bars and triangle chokes and Kimuras. And this fight was wild and crazy, and he looked good on the feet. He's only 28 years old. You have Gavin Tucker, who hasn't fought in almost 2.5 years. And his last fight was a loss to Dan Ige where he got slept in a few seconds. So I'm assuming he's dealing with injuries. He's 37 years old. He's 5'6" with a 66-inch reach. So it's crazy. He has a 5-inch height disadvantage and a 6-inch reach disadvantage to Diego Lopes. Diego Lopes has great stamina, is super aggressive, has good jiu-jitsu, and I just think Diego Lopes, I think he's a bit overhyped because of the performance against Movsar Evloev, but I do think Diego Lopes gets this done. I'm going Diego Lopes first-round sub. Gavin Tucker has good power in his hands, but he's been inactive. He has 5 fights in the last 6 years. He has decent kicks. He got out-grappled by Billy Quarantillo, I'm not saying that Billy Quarantillo is a bad grappler. I think Diego Lopes can win this anywhere he wants. The only thing I worry about is Lopes does get a little bit wild on the feet and Gavin Tucker could catch him and KO him. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think Diego Lopes is going to light him up on the feet. I think Gavin Tucker is going to be suffering from a lot of ring rust. I think he's 37 years old. I think Diego Lopes is just going to be super aggressive, catch him with a big shot, rock him badly, hurt him, follow him to the ground, and submit him. I'm going to go Diego Lopes first round rear naked choke. He's going to hurt him in the first round badly, follow him to the ground. There's going to be a scramble. Gavin Tucker's going to look to get back up. Diego Lopes first round rear naked choke. Moving up on the card, the featured fight on the card, Dustin Jacoby versus Kennedy Nzechukwu. This is going to be a very good light heavyweight matchup of two guys who were fun to watch, but they're not necessarily going to be ever the top of the light heavyweight division. Dustin Jacoby on a 2-fight losing streak, lost to Asmat Mirzakhanov in his last fight. Before that, lost to Cleo Roundtree, but arguably could have won that fight. It was a split decision loss. He's 35 years old, 6'3", with a 76-inch reach. You have Kennedy Nzechukwu. He's 31 years old, coming on a 3-fight winning streak. Beat Devin Clark via guillotine in his last fight. Beat Ian Cutelaba via TKO in his last fight before that. And beat Carl Roberson in his last fight via KO. Took him down, beat him up in that fight. This is a weird fight to pick, honestly. You have Nzechukwu, also has a 2-inch height advantage and a massive 7-inch reach advantage. Nzechukwu eats a lot of shots, and Dustin Jacoby is a decent kickboxer. And I've really thought long and hard about picking Dustin Jacoby, and I think he could win this fight, and I'm still thinking about picking Dustin Jacoby. But I think Kennedy Nzechukwu is I just think he's more athletic. I think he's a little bit faster. I think he's really good in the clinch. He has good knees in the clinch. He does get hit an awful lot, but I don't know if Jacoby has the power to really put him away. I think, Nzechukwu has shown durability against Ian Cutelaba, and he's shown durability in past fights. Against Devin Clark, he got hurt too. But that chin's eventually going to go. But I think Nzechukwu is just younger, faster, and I don't think Dustin Jacoby's not going to shoot it on a takedown. Nzechukwu's biggest weakness is his grappling, and he's been improving with that, with his takedown defense, and he's even been mixing in the wrestling offensively as well. So I think he might mix it in this fight. I think he might clinch up with Dustin Jacoby. Dustin Jacoby eats a lot of shots on the feet, And I think Kennedy Nzechukwu gets a second round TKO, clips him with a big shot, maybe in the clinch, like a short elbow in the clinch, and then just melts him up against the cage. Ground and pound finish in the second round for Nzechukwu. Moving up on the card, the co-main event, Jessica Andrade versus Tatiana Suarez. Jessica Andrade stepping in on short notice. I don't like that at all. And her last fight, she got finished by Yan Xiaonan 2 months ago. The fight before that, she stepped in on short notice against Erin Blanchfield, gets finished via rear naked choke. Before that, she got a win over Lauren Murphy that really means absolutely nothing. Tatiana Suarez, I do wonder about her because she has one fight in the last 4 years. That is craziness. And she beat Montana De La Rosa. She submitted her via guillotine. She's been out with injuries for a while, but she was such a promising prospect for the longest time. Her fight, as she returned from an injury, she fought at flyweight. Now this fight is actually going to be at strawweight. Jessica Andrade, I honestly think she's showing up for paychecks. She's really just showing up for paychecks. She's been finished in 8 of her 11 losses, which was actually crazy to even realize that. And it just seems like whenever Jessica Andrade loses, she usually gets finished. And she basically just wades forward throwing big power shots. She hasn't evolved in a long time. And she's not the greatest with her defensive wrestling. So I'm going Tatiana Suarez. I'm going to say Tatiana Suarez second round submission. I think the first round Suarez is going to be a little bit worried about the power of Jessica Andrade, but I think she'll still be clinching up. She'll still be able to get her down. Andrade will be able to defend a little bit. I thought about picking her first round sub. You know what? Actually, I'm going to go Tatiana Suarez first round submission, late first round submission. I think Suarez is just going to be looking for those takedowns early and often. I think Jessica Andrade showing up for a check, and I think Suarez will be able to get her down. I think, you know what? Suarez is going to get one takedown. She's going to take her down, maybe an inside trip, maybe just, push her up against the cage, double leg. And I think Andrade is going to give up her back trying to get up. I think Suarez is going to jump on her back and finish her via first round rear naked choke. I'm going Tatiana Suarez, first round submission. I just don't trust Jessica Andrade anymore. I don't trust her to get it done. I have to go Tatiana Suarez in this fight. She's relentless. She has good wrestling, good pace. I do worry about the inactivity. I do worry about the striking. But Jessica Andrade, she really can't even close the distance half the time. And she has a 4-inch reach disadvantage in this fight. And also, on top of that, she's a 4-inch height disadvantage. I could see Tatiana Suarez, snatching up a guillotine. And Suarez in her last fight, that's kind of what she did. She snatched up a guillotine because Montana De La Rosa was ducking down, and Tatiana Suarez just snatched it up. So I'm going Tatiana Suarez, first round rear naked choke, gets a takedown. Jessica Andrade gives up her back, late first round, and Suarez chokes her, rear naked choke, first round for Tatiana Suarez. Moving up the card to the main event, we have Cory Sandhagen versus Rob Font. This is at a catch weight, 140 pounds. This was originally supposed to be Cory Sandhagen versus Umar Nurmagomedov. I'm disappointed we didn't get that matchup. I think Rob Font got a more favorable matchup here against Cory Sandhagen because Rob Font was supposed to fight Song Yadong. And I think Song Yadong was like a terrible matchup for Rob Font, but Cory Sandhagen's not much better, to be quite honest. Rob Font's coming off that big win over Adrian Yanez, where he brutally KO'd him in the first round. He ate some shots himself in that fight as well. A lot of people were counting him out. I picked Rob Font in that fight to win via finish, I believe it was. But a lot of people were counting him out. He gets it done. Fight before that, lost to Marlon Vera. Took a lot of damage. Even took a Sweet Chin Music in that fight and got dropped badly. Fight before that against Jose Aldo. Took a lot of damage in that fight. Fight before that, beat Cody Garbrandt. Solid win there. Fight before that, KO'd Marlon Moraes. Hasn't aged that well. Cory Sandhagen, been around forever, at the top of the division. Last fight, he beat Marlon Vera, split decision. Should have been a unanimous decision. That fight wasn't even close. Mixed up his striking and takedowns against Marlon Vera. Won the fight pretty clearly. Fight before that, wins over Song Yadong. Busted him open with a cut. I think it was an elbow. Cut him open. Gets a doctor stoppage. His last loss was to Piotr Jan on short notice. No shame in that. Fight before that, lost to TJ Dillashaw, split decision. I thought Cory Sandhagen won that fight. Sandhagen's 31 to Rob Font being 36. Sandhagen's 5'11 to Rob Font being 5'8, so a 3-inch height advantage. And then Rob Font actually has a 1.5-inch reach advantage. He has a 71.5-inch reach. This fight's very interesting. I think, Rob Font, he has very good boxing, very crisp boxing, very good jab, but he doesn't throw enough kicks. He's just kind of one-dimensional, just throwing his hands, and he doesn't really have great power. He kind of has pillow punches. I know he finished Adrian Yanez's last fight, but kind of, Yanez was getting crazy and brawling and caught him off balance and brutally slept him, but he's not typically sleeping guys like that. And Cory Sandhagen has great movement, great footwork, great diversity of attack, and also more well-rounded. He's been working on his grappling. He's been wanting that Aljamain Sterling rematch for a while where he got out-grappled in that fight, and Sandhagen's been working on that wrestling defense and working on the wrestling offense as well. Used it against Marlon Vera, used it against Song Yadong a little bit as well. And I just think Cory Sandhagen is the more well-rounded fighter. I do think potentially not having to cut weight, I think it might be an advantage to Rob Font, especially considering, his fight was moved up a couple weeks. He was originally supposed to fight in mid-August. Now he's fighting early August. But I don't think Rob Font's like a massive bantamweight by any means where the catch weight is going to give him a significant size advantage. And also Cory Sandhagen, it's not like he started cutting weight, so he doesn't have to cut weight either. And I do kind of hate that it's at a catch weight. But I just think Cory Sandhagen is just a little bit more dynamic, actually a lot more dynamic. He mixes in flying knees, spinning back heel kicks. He has good hands. He has great leg kicks, good movement, good head movement, good footwork. I mean, there's so many things you could say about Cory Sandhagen, and he also has offensive wrestling in his back pocket. So I think he could mix in the wrestling against Rob Font. Rob Font doesn't have the best wrestling. Cody Garbrandt was able to take him down multiple times. So I'm going Cory Sandhagen in this fight. I'm going Cory Sandhagen third round TKO. I think he's going to mix it all together. I think he's going to be lighting up the lead leg of Rob Font. I think Font will land some of that jab, land some good combinations, but I think Cory Sandhagen will roll with it well, eat some of those shots, land better shots, land more combinations. And I think he's going to mix in the takedowns. I think he's going to have Rob Font playing a guessing game. I think he'll be beating up the body with body kicks as well. And I think in that third round, Cory Sandhagen's going to catch him with some dynamic attack, maybe a wheel kick, maybe a flying knee, hurt Rob Font badly, maybe a sweet chin music similar to what Marlon Vera did to him. But I just think Rob Font's taken so much damage over the course of his career. He's 36 years old. He's slowing down. He's too one-dimensional where Cory Sandhagen, you don't know where he's going to attack you from. So I think Cory Sandhagen catches him. I'm going to say flying knee in the third round. Doesn't put Rob Font out, but hurts him badly. And then Cory Sandhagen swarms him on the ground, finishes him with ground and pound. Cory Sandhagen, third round TKO. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Who are you picking in the main event? Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe. And thank you so much for watching.